This is a beta version of a program that does something that, if you search the internet, they will say that Python cannot write text or what have you to the same location on the screen. So for example, maybe you want to recreate this line over and over again and change this to a number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you are creating an interface for a weather station, and you always want temperature to appear in one place on the screen, and then you put the temperature out here and the temperature changes, but you don't want this to scroll down like Python usually does. So this is what this program does. Now there's good news and bad news. The good news is it works well. The bad news is it works with the text interface. The good news is it's John Zella's graphics package, and it works very well. Okay, so moving along, that's first our comment, Python 3, and it prints text to the same location. There's more to add to this, but I thought a lot of people would like to see the beginning and maybe get started themselves. So from the graphics, we're going to import everything. From time, we're going to import sleep. This WinX and WinY, this is the window we're going to create, and this is the size of the window, X and Y coordinates. We're going to have a background color of gray 95. This is going to be important because in order to erase the screen, we're going to use the same background color and we're going to write over it. We're going to stick a rectangle of color over that area, and then we're going to keep rewriting onto that. So rectangle of color, text, rectangle of color, text, and it will keep hitting the same area of the window. So this is how we're doing an erasure. We're actually just writing the same color over the area. The color list, I just did this for fun. It's going to go through and pick different colors for the text just to show it can be done. This is where we're going to create our window, and it's going to be titled text static location and the WinX, WinY, the sizes. Then we're going to set the background color to this gray 95, and you're going to see this variable happen often. This is the routine that actually does the write. The rest of the program is pretty much just an example, but this is the part you need to write to the same location on the screen, and it's got a lot of inputs. The X and Y is the lower left corner of a rectangle. X2, Y2 is the upper right corner of a rectangle that we're going to write to, our text box, if you will. Font size, color, and then the text of the message. And we need to pass all that information to here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to erase the space that we're going to write to. And we're going to create a rectangle again with a lower left corner here and an upper right corner there. And the graphics package knows how to do that. So we're creating this object. We're going to fill this object with that background color, gray 95, and that's how we're going to blank it out. This next line right here is setting the outline of the rectangle. And for visual checking, for debugging, you can set this, you can comment out this line, and what will happen is you can see the area of the rectangle. It'll have a black line around it. But normally, you don't want that black line, so you leave this uncommented. But again, comment it out, and it helps in debugging and figuring out where your outlines are, where your rectangle is. Okay, so we're going to create that. We're going to set the background of that rectangle color to the same as our background color. We're going to draw that to the window, so we just blanked out a rectangle onto the window. Now we're going to get our message, and we're going to take the center point of that rectangle, and that's where we're going to set our message. Our message will be centered on that point. That's our text message. We pass it, we create this object called message, and then we set the font, which is Arial. There's many different fonts you can use. We're going to set the font size here. Then we're going to set the text color, and I just picked those colors kind of at random, and then we'll draw that to the window, and then we'll return. So this is actually the important part of the routine. Again, the rest of this is an example for a weather station. The example is not great for a weather station. It's more of an example for an example, but we'll see. Okay, so we're going to define this routine, which is the atmospheric pressure, the barometric pressure. We're going to pass it the pressure. We're going to set the font size. We're going to set the X and Y coordinates of the lower left corner, the X and Y coordinates of the upper right corner, and this is just where I want the box to be. These numbers tell me how big I want the box to be. The Y, I found out that if I take the font size times 2, it will give me a pretty good representation based on the font size I'm using. And that way I don't have to do a lot of manual calculation. This gives me a really good estimate. The message text we're going to print out is pressure equals the pressure, the number, and then in bar is like PSI. Then the color, and we're just going to grab that off the color list, and then we're going to call the function that we just looked at with all those parameters to actually print it to the box on the screen. The next function is pretty much the same thing except it's temperature. We're going to use a smaller font size. We're going to push it over more to the right, and the upper right corner is changed in proportion. Message text, temperature equals, and then the string of the temperature which is passed, and then in centigrade, of course. Again, grab the color, and then we're going to call the text graphic out routine to print that to the box on the screen. And this is just loops through this and prints it many times on the screen so you can see it actually works, but it's not really valid for a weather station. It's more just an example. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to initialize the two areas on the screen and fill them with the zeros, and then we're going to start putting in the data. And so for pressure in range from 0 to 4 by 1s, we're going to pass it the pressure, which is this. We're going to sleep for 3/4 of a second, and we're going to go through that. Then we're going to create another window on the screen somewhere else, and we're going to go through that for the temperature from 0 to 5 times. When all those are done, we're going to go down here to the get mouse. We're going to wait, the screen will wait until we click on the screen. When that happens, it'll close the window, print done, and that's that. Okay, so let's run this and see what it does. So let me hit the F5 key, we'll run it. You can see the window. It created two windows. So this is the large, and this is the small, and you saw it go through there from 0 to 3 and from 0 to 4, and it puts it right in the same location. We can run it again just for fun. We can click on this window and that'll end it. We get a done statement over here. It says it completed normally. Do it again. 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. So you notice that it went green, yellow, red. I can change it based on if statements. I can say, okay, it's getting hot, too hot. I'm in a cautionary thing, so I change it to yellow. I'm in a danger area, so I change it to red. All those kind of things. But this solves a lot of problems with Python of not being able to create a nice interface using their standard output because it's always scrolling down like it does over here. Okay, well that was it for today. I hope you found it useful and interesting in your Python programming.